Hello, my name is Callum John and welcome to Oxford Comic Con 2018. As always, we have a lot in store for you today, from celebrity guests, some random antics, and of course, tons and tons of cosplayers. So let's go inside, shall we?
On tonight's Nerdemic show, Ben has some fun with a lightsaber, Kieran hits a button, and Callum gets scared by an orc.
From actresses, puppeteers, and illustrators, we've met some amazing celebrities here at Oxford Comic Con today. So let's check out some of those interviews right now.
Hi there guys, it's Ben here from OxCon 2018. I'm here with Mr. John Higgins. How are we doing today, John?
Yep, pretty good. How are you?
Good, yeah, not so bad, thanks. So just obviously want to ask you a couple of questions about your works, specifically your fantastic sketch works. What was it that first got you into it?
Sex and drugs and a bit of rock and roll thrown in, and otherwise just a perfect way to make a living.
Fair enough, all perfectly good reasons. And how long is it that you've been doing this?
Weirdly enough, I can't believe it sometimes when I look back, because I started in 1977, the very first year the 2000 AD started, and I did a fan illustration that appeared on the cover. In those days they had this brilliant opportunity for fans to send artwork in, and if it was good enough, they put it on a cover or they made a story around it. And I was one of the first people in the very first year as a fan to actually appear in 2000 AD. And then, I was at college then, so after a couple of years, I went fully freelance. Well, I actually started working in London and started doing freelance work. And then I started doing work for 2000 AD professionally, probably the mid-80s was just like the time that I actually started making a living as a comic artist. But to actually appear in 2000 AD, the very first year it was published, I can't believe. I think it was last year, it had the 40th anniversary, 2017, so 40 years since it started. And it suddenly dawned on me how long I've been doing it. So, 1977.
Okay. All right, so 1977, and you say sort of full throttle from about the 80s, and awesome. Yeah. What would you say is the most interesting thing that you think you've drawn, or the thing that you've most enjoyed?
I think for me, it's most people probably know me more either for Judge Dredd in Britain or around the world. It's The Watchmen, The Culling and The Watchmen that I did, and The Killing Joke. I mean, the great thing for me, The Killing Joke and Watchmen, they've never aged. The great thing about brilliant characters and brilliant comic work is the fact that it transcends a time period. It should not date if it's that good. The great thing about Batman, The Killing Joke and Watchmen is the fact that both of them is so classic it's almost out of time. If you look back, when I look back, I'm a comic collector, when I look back at stuff that was done elsewhere in the mid-80s and the early 90s, which is The Killing Joke was created in 1990. And most of the stuff that was produced in those days has a time period key. You look at it and you think, well, that's the mid-90s or the mid-80s or whatever, whereas Watchmen and The Killing Joke is timeless. And for me, so most people know me for those two. But the thing that I do more than anything is Judge Dredd. I've probably done more pages of Judge Dredd than any other character. But that's to be self-employed, to be freelance comic artist, you actually have to do anything that people offer you the work to do. So it's Judge Dredd for me is my number one character because it's my favourite character. But I'll just do anything that people pay me to do. I'll turn up and open the fridge for you if you want to pay me.
Okay, fair enough. And obviously, as you've mentioned Judge Dredd, I do have to ask, Urban or Stallone?
You don't have to ask. Urban.
It's got to be, hasn't it? It's got to be. And as I wandered over, I couldn't help but notice you reading some new works there, Razor Jack, which I believe is your own. Is that something you want to tell us about?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, for me, as I said, it's the great thing about working on Judge Dredd is it's my favourite character, and I've been working on him so long. It was working on 2000 AD and doing my own character. This is my own character, Razor Jack. And I created this in the end of the 90s, just coming into the 2000s. And so like for me, it was like this was a labour of love to actually get the opportunity to do my own character. I was self-published and invested my own time, money and creativity in doing this character. And finally, it's like, I never thought it was going to appear with Judge Dredd. I just got the opportunity. One of the scriptwriters I deal with a lot, Michael Carroll, who works for 2000 AD regularly doing Judge Dredd and a number of other characters, he suggested we do a crossover with, because he's written Razorjack as well with me sometimes in the past. So he made the suggestion of like maybe we could do a crossover, and Matt Smith, the editor of 2000 AD, agreed. So it's just been an incredible opportunity for me to do a character that I love, Judge Dredd, with another character that I created, which is so personal to me. So that's a really satisfying thing to be working on. And
awesome.
Sorry, go on.
No, awesome. Yeah, definitely going to have a look at that. It sounds really, really awesome. And as I say, I saw you something else as well. Is that something else you want to tell us about as well?
Funny enough, I have. This is basically the story of my life. So, like the great thing is for me, I had this retrospective exhibition in my hometown of Liverpool last year, and for me, I didn't realise, as I said, I've been doing it for so long until people start pointing out. And I was given the opportunity to do this like an autobiographical art book, which like basically tells everyone how to become me, which is, I'm sure, is everyone's dreams to become me. But one of the things that it's got in here is all the different characters and things I've done over the years. This is the Killing Joke, which I talk about extensively with Watchmen and other things I've done over the years. And plus the fact towards the end, it like gives you clues on how to become a professional comic artist. It tells you how to approach the whole thing, who to talk to, and how to approach storytelling. So this is, for me, is a fun project for me to do, and I think it's one of the things a lot of people ask. I've asked a lot of the questions I'm usually asked within this book, so it's definitely something worth people picking up.
Okay, so all sorts of stuff in there about yourself as well as how to actually, how you got into the industry yourself and how other people might do it as well.
Yeah, it's written by a megalomaniac, conceited, it's the sort of thing that I want to express to people with like enough modesty to make people believe I'm modest.
We're here with the wonderful Miss Arti Shah. Hi there, how are you doing today, Arti?
Doing very well, thank you. How are you?
Great, yeah, no, I'm wonderful, thanks. You enjoying the convention so far?
I am. Beautiful venue.
Lovely, isn't it?
First time I'm signing in Oxford, and I'm meeting so many wonderful people.
Have you done many of these other conventions?
I have. I've done quite a few, but it's my first one since taking a break for a year. So.
Okay, and again, we couldn't have picked better weather for it either, could we?
Absolutely.
Most unusual, but coming from England with actually sunny skies and wonderful, wonderful temperature. I think 27 it was today.
27?
I think it is, yeah. But so what is it exactly that got you into the industry?
So, as a child, I always loved watching films. I enjoyed drama in school. However, I pursued business, and after graduating, my year tutor said to me, I can see you working in this industry. So I moved to London. I studied method acting. I keep fit a lot, and that got me into movement and creature work.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And what was it that you think you most enjoy about the industry?
Working with lots of talented people. Every single project is completely different. Each day is different, and I think most importantly, bringing a character to life.
Yeah, perfectly understandable. It sounds great. I mean, just absolutely fantastic stuff there. And I understand, obviously, there are some really long days. And it's sort of 7-day-a-week stuff as well sometimes, or really just constant?
Rarely 7-day week. Yes, there are long days, but it's such an enjoyable job that you don't really mind.
Brilliant. And what sort of the typical length that you'd work on a project? Do you generally go for a period of months? Or?
It could be anything between a month to 3 months, and then have a break, and then another project.
Yeah, brilliant. And what sort of things have you got planned for the future? Is there anything you're allowed to tell us about?
You have to wait and see.
Perfect. That's a perfectly good answer there. Well, lovely. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure and a privilege. Thank you, Artie.
Hi, I'm here with Toby Philpott, who is best known for his work on The Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, Star Wars, and Little Shop of Horrors. I'm sure among other things as well.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? So you're a puppeteer.
I wasn't.
You weren't?
I was a juggler and an acrobat. But for The Dark Crystal, they didn't know what they needed to occupy the big characters. They advertised for acrobats, dancers, mimes, clowns, and so on. And because I was an acrobat, I went for this audition and passed. Now, once I'm doing Mystics and Garthim for The Dark Crystal, I was also joined to one of the big teams. Like each of the Muppet people had sidekicks because the puppets were 3-person puppets.
Yeah.
And I got picked by Jim Henson. So I worked on Jim's team doing the Ritual Master and Jen and things like that. I'd be doing the other hand or the eyes or whatever. And 6 months on Dark Crystal with the Grand Master, I became a puppeteer. And then I was given Jabba without any audition or anything. I was just called
amazing.
in. Dave Barkley had been given the job, and he builds puppets and stuff. He chose me for his co-pilot.
So how much time does it take to get used to operating something like Jabba? Because you work it as a team. So.
Yeah, very much. I mean, at times Jabba is 4, 5, 6 people, all on headsets. Essentially, we, as a pair, David and I, because we have to match hands, we did quite a lot of rehearsing outside. I mean, I taught him to juggle with my left hand, his right hand, just to get into body sync and to have like-minded rhythms and so on. And then you develop the character and the lines, like I'm doing gestures with my voice, so you have to start matching up. He was doing the lines in English with a microphone and speakers on the set. Of course, they dubbed all that afterwards, much to his disappointment. But so you're building up a rhythm and a team game. The tail, Mike Edmonds was doing the tail. Again, that's expressing the emotions. So if you're angry, he's thrashing around. If he's bored, he's tapping. And then the eyes would be radio controlled by John Coppinger or one of the crew. And again, we have to talk to each other because if you move your eyes without moving the head, if you move the eyes without moving, it means different things. So as a team, yes, you're working quite a complicated thing.
Oh, see, now what makes me sad is that we don't have any deleted scenes with Jabba juggling.
No, we never did it in the costume.
Oh, I think you missed the trick there.
Well, we couldn't see. Nowadays, you'd have a pinhole camera in his forehead, and you'd be watching a little screen. Back then, all they gave us was a sort of grainy 4-inch CCTV camera hanging off our necks, a great big box like this. Yeah. And it wasn't even showing us through the lens. It wasn't showing us the shot. It was just showing us Jabba, and it didn't really help. There's no 3D perception, and so nowadays it would be a very different project. But Jabba's hands don't actually reach. I couldn't hand Dave the frog, for instance.
Yeah.
Juggling would have been just about impossible. I mean, if we had loads of time to play, we would have tried. We'd try anything.
So when were you brought in? Because originally Jabba was meant to be a human character, and then changed later.
That's before I'm in the film. Dark Crystal was my first film, and that was only a project. It was a dream that George wanted to CGI over. That's the rumour anyway. When we were filming Dark Crystal, George was quite in contact with Jim Henson because Yoda, for instance, had happened.
Yeah.
Yoda was heroically good. And in a way, Dark Crystal was a showcase of what else you could do of that quality, like a real being. So they were very close, and I think Jim was quite influential in getting Jabba made. But it's not Jim's creature shop that built it.
Yeah.
Just similar people. And, it was quite a small world, really. And it's really hard to say exactly how all that stuff evolved, but it was quite a small unit of people. I got drawn in because of Dark Crystal. Jedi was the next film into the same studio after we finished. Right.
So
it just rolled over. A lot of people just took their job.
Just got to keep going to work in the same place. That's pretty handy.
Yeah.
So forgetting about things like how popular the films are and all that sort of stuff, which film was your favourite to work on?
For me, Dark Crystal.
Yeah?
But that's because, first of all, I'd never done a film. Secondly, I worked on pre-production and all the shooting from day one to the end. Normally on a film you get 2 or 3 weeks work and you don't see the whole film. Whereas I was given the concept of the film saw all the drawings, was helping design the costumes, not personally design the costumes. As an operator, the designers were working round me.
Mm-hmm.
And also working with Jim Henson and Frank Oz, who were just such wonderful people. Jim particularly was a dream teacher, never lost his cool, never lost his temper. And as well as the big creatures that I did, I was picked to be on his personal team, because each Muppet person had a couple of sidekicks. And you have to be sort of similar temperament. Same thing again, body rhythms. And Jim's quite a shy person, and though I sound loud when I'm doing this, me and Robbie were both, mild-mannered vegetarian Buddhist types, and we would be inside the costume with Jim, which is as personal as you get. He's doing a head here and a hand here, and I'm standing in his armpit like this doing the other hand, or working the eyes or whatever. So on Dark Crystal I had a full education of films and puppets, and when I watch it, I'm in any shot I'm probably doing something. It might be a background creature in the jungle, but I feel fully committed to it, like I own it.
That's great.
You see what I mean?
Just watching it with.
It's not the best film
friends.
that I worked on, but it's the one that I'm most proud of.
I won't be so sure. My friend Emmy here, she loves it so much she's got a tattoo going there.
No, it is, but I think it was underappreciated at the time. And Jim was very disappointed because it was a dream thing for him.
A lot of the greats are.
He did Labyrinth, he put people back in because he said people find it too difficult being all puppets. Whereas actually, and it was a bit dark, and people thought they were going to get something cute and Muppety. And actually Dark Crystal's quite sinister. It's more like Grimm's fairy tales. It actually has quite scary stuff in there,
Yeah.
But that's important too. I mean, he knew what he was doing. He did that on purpose.
So, do you have any advice for any of our viewers who want to get into this line of work?
Wow. Well, it's all moved on. This is 30 years ago. Certainly puppets, if you're interested in puppets, then learning to do lip sync, learning to do the lip sync, which I don't do, I should point out. I was doing big creatures, but and my dad did puppets where the lips didn't move. They were just like classic puppets. But nowadays, practicing lip sync would get you into the puppet world, which works in TV and film. Big creatures, don't know. I got the job because I was an acrobat, and because I was fit enough to wear big, heavy, hot costumes for hours on end. So that's just fitness, be fit. And read the small ads, when they're advertising for people. But because nowadays a lot of this stuff is done with motion capture, you're just wearing like a black mime suit with dots on it, and they're adding all the graphics. So you want to be a dancer or a mime, you need lots of body control to be able to do what is asked of you by the choreographer, but you won't be in charge of the expressions or the other details. So it's tricky. Getting in the film business is always tricky. It's just one of those closed shops. Once you've got one job, you'll probably get more jobs, but getting that first job is hard.
Well, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Yeah, no worries.
And anything you'd like to say to our viewers before we go?
Well, if you want to be a performer, good luck. It's an insecure profession, but it's a fantastic one. If you manage to get to the place that, of your dreams, it could last forever. I know these films are going to outlive me now, so it's something else.
That's a good legacy, though.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much for speaking with us.
While Ben shows off some lightsaber skills to a group of cosplayers, I discover a very interesting vehicle in the main lobby.
So this behind me here is a scale replica of the Batmobile. It's pretty sweet. But one thing that I would like to say about it, it's completely made out of foam.
Which brings us on to our next focus of the amazing exhibitors that we have here. From independent artists, sellers and creators, there is a large range here at Oxford Comic Con.
I'm actually kind of scared about this one. So, hi. Would you like to introduce yourself to the audience, please?
I am Ogren, General Isengard.
Cool. So, what's it like being a general? So, talk us through the military process of the Orc army.
I get to eat and kill whoever I want. Ah!
done any killing today?
Day's not over yet.
Okay, cool. So I'm actually here with the CEO of Galactic Knights. If you'd like to actually introduce yourself properly and tell us about what you guys do.
My name's Joe, and I am the CEO of the Galactic Knights. We are a professional quality costuming club. That means that we costume in character, in as professional quality, as accurate quality costumes as we can.
Awesome. So first of all, let's just talk about your costume. How long did it take to make, and sort of what was the process that sort of went into doing it?
This took me around about a month to do. It's made of metal, and I had to learn how to hammer it out. Cold forging, it's called. So a little bit of hard work, but good fun.
So how long does it take to put on at each time?
It takes around about 40 minutes.
Wow. So why an orc today? What was your inspiration for this costume?
A big fan of the Lord of the Rings, which is where this is from. And yeah, there's a lot of Star Wars characters going around, so I thought I'd scare one or two. That Lord Vader seems a little bit like I can take him.
You think you can take Vader?
Oh yeah.
Brilliant. So behind you, you've got this lovely display. How long do these sort of take to make? And also, what is the process of making them?
Well, it depends. It varies greatly from item to item, but they can be anything from just a few days' work to several months. The droid on the end, the R2 unit, is several months of work that's gone into that.
So what material is the R2 made out of?
That particular R2 is fiberglass, plastics and metal pieces, some electronics running through it to light it up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then behind us here, if we just move to the side, we've got two lovely new series BB-8, or a BB-8 and a BB-9E. Talk us through how these were sort of produced.
These two were made by my brother. He actually 3D printed them.
3D printed?
So they are almost entirely 3D printed.
Wow. That's really impressive. How long did that take to print?
That one I believe took somewhere in the region of 2-3 weeks.
Wow. So do you mainly just sort of work conventions, or do you sort of bring this into other works, maybe?
We do conventions, but we also do events around the country involving, they can be for specific items such as Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, but we also attend things like premieres, events for charity. We're quite good at stopping people and asking them for money.
I like that. So, is there anything you want to sort of, any links or anything that you want to push forward now to the audience?
Yeah, if you're interested in this kind of thing, then why not check out galacticknights.co.uk.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, sir. I hope that you enjoying yourself today. You're feeling? You gonna shake my hand? Hi. And I'm here with a very talented author. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I write under the name LL McNeill. I'm an epic fantasy author and I'm self-published.
Awesome. So before we go on to the book, let's have a little talk about the process of self-publishing. So how have you sort of found this entire experience, and has there been any major difficulties along the way that sort of led you to this moment?
Well, it's a major learning curve. I went into it probably not knowing as much as I should have known. I published on Amazon firstly as the ebook, and then I decided that I wanted to have physical paperbacks too. So instead of doing a print-on-demand service like CreateSpace, which a lot of self-published authors do, I decided to print stock, which is a big risk in terms of money, because it's a lot of money you have to pay up front, and also I could end up with my dining room full of books that I could never sell. So it was a big risk, but I really wanted to do it. I've got lots of little touches on the books that I'm happy with, so that was a steep learning curve, but really happy with how it turned out.
Awesome. So yeah, let's have a little talk about the book now. So this is the first one in a series of 6, I believe. Let's have a little to talk about what is the plot? Tell us about this world of fantasy that you have created.
Okay, so the world is called Linaria. The series is called World of Linaria. Kicks off with book 1, our title character Moroda. Her city's burnt to the ground by a dragon. She escapes on a Sky Pirates airship, and she's thrown in with people from all around the world. She's never really left the city, so it's a big world out there. It's very different. And the dragons are considered gods in the world, and they're normally pretty peaceful. So for them to suddenly start flying around and burning stuff down, that's a big deal. So it's kind of a... why are the dragons turning on everyone, and what's the kind of the bigger plot unfolds as to who might be behind it and what the implications might be for her and for the world itself.
That sounds incredible.
Thank you.
So what was your inspiration for this? What made you come up with this idea in the first place?
Well, I had the idea back when I was 16, so it's been on the back burner for a long time. I always loved the Final Fantasy games. I loved the mythos. I loved how character-driven it was. I loved the depth that you get to all of their stories. So I'm very inspired by that, as you can tell by the airships and the magic, and there's even a guy called Palom in it, which is a side character. So yeah, I've really loved that, and also just other fantasy books, you know, starting from Narnia and escaping into a different world, and I really wanted to bring my own thoughts of what a world could be like to print.
That's brilliant. So one thing I just noticed on the table that I really just would like to mention, talk us through these dragons. You've got a couple of them here.
These are my mascots. They're puppets as well.
They're puppets?
Yeah. So they, when you write about dragons,
amazing.
you kind of it's nice to have a mascot. They're really great. I mean, adults love them too, but...
It's really hard to do with just one hand.
One hand, yeah.
One-handed puppetry. That's incredible.
So yeah, they come to all my stands. They help me.
Did you make these yourself?
No. They were bought from a puppet shop.
Nice.
But they're fantastic.
Awesome. So we're sort of just wrapping up now. Is anything you'd like to push? Anything about the book? Any upcoming dates?
Yes, so it's the first book in a series of 6. Sequel is out hopefully in June, if I don't procrastinate too much. I do have some spin-off novellas that I'm writing as well, so I do have a mailing list. You can sign up to it on my website, which is just...
Tell us what that is?
Yeah, so my website is just llmcneil.com, so my name just as it appears on the book. You can view all of the character artwork, the map, find out about the characters. You can sign up to my mailing list there, and I send out an email every month.
Brilliant. And
you'll get free spin-off novellas. You can get a digital version of the map just for signing up, and obviously you'll be the first to know about news, announcements, updates, special offers, that kind of thing.
Brilliant. So this is the final question I'm going to ask you is, as we're here at Oxford Comic Con, how are you finding it? What was your opinions of the event so far?
Well, it's the first time I've been to this one. I only live 20 minutes up the road, so it was a really great local one for me. It's amazing. Everyone is lovely, the dealers, the people that are here, you guys. Really busy, a lot busier than I thought, and it's only 11:30, so it's only going to get busier. I think it's the 3rd time this event has run.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, come to this one. It's a really good one.
So while we're talking to exhibitors here at OxCon, I decided to meet up with an old friend.
And I'm back again with I knew that was going to happen.
That's not my name.
I know. Would you like to say your name?
Neil Gibson.
Neil Gibson. Of TPub. We've interviewed him before here on Nerdemic at OxCon, but it's been a couple of years since that. So tell us what's new, what you've been up to recently. What's new? What's happened?
What's happened? So we're making Stan Lee's new comic based on Lucky Man, the TV series. We've got Twisted Dark Volume 7 in production. We've got Twisted Sci-Fi in production. We've got Disposable Legends. We've got Transdimensional. We have Theatrics Volume 2. We have Twisted Fantasy, the first story of that. We've got lots of things in
Yeah, it sounds like a lot, man. Talk us through like the process of like how your company works with publishing so many very different new releases. And how do you come up with this, like, the inspiration for all these different volumes?
Well, so I don't write all the titles. I started writing them all, but I believe that I believe there's a comic for everyone, okay? And so if you don't like the dark stuff, you have the lighter stuff as well. There's a whole range in between. So what we care about when people pitch to us is we want the whole story in 5 bullet points. That's it. Because if you can't tell it in 5 bullet points, you don't really know what the story's about. And if we like that, then we look for the artwork and we edit the process. If you're a brilliant comic book creator, I suggest you go for Image because they just let you do what you want to do. Whereas we genuinely believe in pushing to make you better at what you're doing. And so we're heavily involved with the script stage, the art, the coloring, and the lettering. So the process is people submit pitches to us, then we work through them in that order, the script and the production process, and then if they're paying for the artwork, we kickstart it, and then we split the profits afterwards.
Sounds really good. What would you say is your favourite comic you've produced? Personally, your own?
Okay. To date or in production?
Doesn't matter.
To date, it would be Theatrics. So this is book 1 of 2. Book 2 is in production. I don't know if we finished by the end of this year. Maybe not. But the ending to this is set in the 1920s. This guy is the king of Broadway. One night he's walking home drunk, gets mugged, beaten up, and left for dead. And he loses everything. He loses his looks, so he loses his acting job, he loses his money, his apartment, his girl, everything because of one night. But it's what he does next that gets interesting. And the ending of book 2, which is the end of the story, is the best ending I've ever done. I like doing people like my endings, but this one is the best ending.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, that's actually really awesome.
But so that's the best ending I've ever done. The best thing I've done so far is Twisted Sci-Fi, which is like Twisted Dark, but in the science fiction universe. Yeah. And that's out later this year. I'm pretty excited about that.
Well, I'm looking forward to it when it comes out. One last question before we sort of wrap up. You mentioned earlier that you are working on Stan Lee's next comic.
Yes, that's Stanley's Lucky Man, based on his TV series.
How does it feel to sort of have that authority to deal with that product?
I've never considered it. I was pleased with the opportunity. It's look at how many comics exist now because of him. But to me, it's just another comic. I care about making it as good as it can be.
Cool. So, if there's anything you want to plug before we leave?
Yes. At the bottom of this thing, there'll be a challenge. The challenge is to read 2 of our stories and then try and stop reading it. There you go. That's the plug.
Yeah, sure. So that will be just down in the description.
Well, so far today, 9 people have failed. They read the second story and then bought the book instantly. 3 people managed to read the 2 stories and not buy, but I reckon they'll be back because it's that good.
Oh yeah.
I wrote it.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man.
While we're speaking about stores, we had our own this year, upon which we had a mystery box inspired by those in the Super Mario series that when you pushed it, lit up.
There we go.
Meanwhile, Callum had an interesting talk with a member of the Imperial Infantry.
I know what you're thinking. What is the primary role of the Imperial Heavy Trooper? Well, let me tell you. The primary role of the Imperial Heavy Trooper is to lay down suppressive fire so the advancing troops don't get turned into panther doo-doo.
Okay. That's a very big gun you have there, my friend.
Thank you very much, sir. DLT-19 Heavy Blaster makes a damn mess of an Ewok.
Yeah, I think it might. Yeah. So what's it like being in the Imperial Army?
It's a fun-filled white-knuckle ride without barriers, John. It's just we don't get paid.
You don't get paid?
Nah.
Do you get any sort of like relief from...
Well, we used to until that rebel scum destroyed my home, the Death Star.
Oh, so there were actually accommodation, like permanent on the Death Star at the time?
Absolutely. We got nowhere to live. We were in huts on Endor. Not good.
Now, it wouldn't be an OxCon video without talking about our favourite part, the cosplayers.
few more cosplayers here for you guys. I am now here with...
Arden. And I'm Thranduil from the Hobbit films.
Lovely. So, tell me, what is it that's so great about Oxford Comic Con?
For me, a lot the location. It's a really beautiful city and a really beautiful building. And also, they choose very high quality art to have here, and because my partner is an illustrator and I love the art, it's a convention that I like coming back to.
Great. And for you?
It's quite nice because it's so much smaller than like the big ones like London and Birmingham, and it's actually nice to be able to walk around and see things, and it's in an absolutely stunning location. Like, have photos outside and they look incredible compared to some of the other ones.
So what have the highlights been for you today?
I think definitely the people who are here, like the stalls, the artists and everyone, because it's just as...
I liked being a surprise guest in the talk about the Hobbit. They had a Hobbit talk downstairs, and they pointed out the window and was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Thranduil!" And then I walked into the talk, and I was like, "Yep, this is where I belong."
Nice, get to be a celebrity for a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, is there anything you would like to say for next year that you would like to see here? Maybe something you've seen at the bigger cons, or maybe something that would only work for a smaller con.
Maybe some more, I don't know, it was already beautiful with its photo opportunities.
Yeah.
It's kind of a small and perfectly formed convention already.
Yeah.
But maybe on the cosplay side, because some of the bigger conventions have like a repair desk and a couple of cosplay guests that are talking about the craft and giving advice and stuff. And I think maybe some of that, so a bit more cosplay focused.
That's a good idea. Repair desk. All right.
Those things are 100%.
Cosplayers love repair desks.
Yeah.
If you have a repair desk, we will be there.
Okay, well that's good advice for the next one. Thanks very much for talking with us. I assume I'm going to see you guys in the cosplay contest?
I'm the judge.
You're a judge, so...
I might.
They are.
Maybe.
Okay, great. I'll see you there then. Thanks.
I'm used to being a Jedi. It's fine. You just flick a button and swing it. It works.
Is that all it needs?
Flick a button and swing it, yeah.
Yeah.
You cannot have a laugh while you're doing this.
Oh, no, of course.
You're doing the wrong thing.
So how did you guys get involved in sort of the department anyway?
For me, I'm American, so Halloween is a huge thing back home.
Okay.
And I loved the dressing up and being able to have fun, and then I moved here and I went to a free comic book day event locally.
Oh, okay.
And they'd got this group of Star Wars costumers there, and it just looked so much fun. They were having such a laugh doing it that I got to know them, ended up joining. It's all a long costuming history from there, but it is. We dress up as screen-accurate Star Wars characters, and we go and raise money for charity and have a laugh and high-five kids along the way. So today we're here, again, taking pictures, high-fiving kids, being silly, and raising money for the Alexander Devine Children's Hospice, which is our main charity that we raise for. In 2 weeks, we're going to be at Legoland for all 3 days.
Nice.
Being there along with the 501st, Rebel Legion, the Mando Mercs, the R2 Builders Club. Again, raising money for the Alexander Devine. We raised over £15,000 last year at Legoland for their Star Wars days. So it's fun. We're silly. We high-five kids.
Is there a link to the charity that we could plug on the channel?
If you can just look up Alexander Devine Children's Hospice, you can look up, we've got Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of the above for Joker Squad, as do Rebel Legion UK, the UK Garrison, and again, the R2 Builders Club aren't here today, but they are going to be at Lego. All of us, we do a lot of great things for raising for different charities and have fun doing it.
Awesome. I would recommend to all of you out there to definitely look in the description below. I will have a couple of links there towards all those charities.
And let's not forget this year's cosplay competition, in which many amazing costumes were shown off. We were able to catch up with the winner just afterwards.
So I'm here now with the winner of 2018's cosplay competition. How do you feel about winning?
Over the moon. I've been here since number 1, and it's about time I won.
So let's just talk through the costume that you've worn today. How long did it take you to make?
6 months.
6 months?
6 months.
Talk us through the process. Like, what was the inspiration, and where did you start?
Right, I done the costume last year as a first attempt. I started off on the feet and the shins and the blades. After which I come here and I got an honourable mention, and I improved on that and just refined it with more detail. So the reason I picked this character is because in the video game he's classed as a bad guy. And I enjoy mixed responses from people. Instead of, I like your costume, I get, I don't like you, but I like your costume. And it's unique, it's different, and I enjoy that.
Awesome. So the couple of questions I want to ask about some areas that I'm really impressed with. Talk us through the head. Talk us through the helmet.
Nightmare.
I can see that might be, because you've got it going, not only through that, you've got a completely different detail there, and it doesn't seem to have anywhere you can clearly tell what it's made out of.
Okay, so this part here is simply made out of foam. It's all made out of foam, but the horns are actually PVC piping.
Really?
Yeah, and you've got a foam layer on the outside. I mean...
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Do you want to have a look?
I can see from here, we've got the camera pointing at it, but that's...
You can actually pull it up a bit if you want.
If you feel it here, guys, you can actually feel that change. I'm actually really impressed by that. So, now you've won, what are you going to do next year?
Next year? I've got London to think about first.
Yeah, of course.
And then, depending how I go on London, I might improve this costume some more, or I might take a different approach with a different character.
Awesome. A couple more questions about this. What was your favourite part to design? Like, what was the
head head on the dagger. That took about a month on its own to get it to hold itself.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, all I can say is congratulations. I hope we've enjoyed the convention today.
So that brings another OxCon to a close. Extended versions of some of the interviews from today will be on the Nerdemic channel later this week. And of course, all of the links we've mentioned in the show are down in the description. And also, if you enjoy what we do here at Nerdemic, like, share, and subscribe to the channel.
So we've had a great time here at OxCon 2018. As always, we've seen some amazing stuff, we've met some amazing people, and we've had a lot of fun. So all I can say here from the Nerdemic team is, see you guys next time.